Welcome back, everyone, into Locked On Syracuse. I'm Jackson Holzer, and on today's show, we're going over at the Syracuse Basketball 2024 roster is complete, and I already gave you that answer in case you missed it. No, I don't think it's complete. They could still use a backup power forward or a center, and hey, if UConn's players get that extra 30-day transfer portal window, then you got to at least inquire to see if one of them might be interested in going to Syracuse. That's all I'll say about that. Now let's talk about the future and Syracuse basketball in their 2025 recruiting efforts. Obviously, it's off to a very hot start with five-star forward, 24/7 Sports composite five-star forward Sadiq White committing to Syracuse just last week. Huge depth for the Orange. This is someone who I can imagine will cause other players to follow suit. He is that good, one of the best defenders in the class, and still has plenty of upside on the offensive end if he can improve that jumper of his. Now, let's go to some other players. So Syracuse is now in the lead for 2025 four-star forward from Connecticut. He is a consensus top 60 prospect. London Jemison on three prediction machine has Syracuse right now at an 88% chance of landing him. So that's pretty good, 88%. He recently took an official visit to Syracuse, and that is his only official visit in his recruitment process so far. So Syracuse certainly in good shape in that regard to land London Jemison. Again, it's not a lock, it's not a guarantee, but if you can get a guy like London Jemison to pair with Sadiq White, oh boy. This 2025 recruiting class, in terms of the players that they're offering and the odds that they're getting, the odds that they can get them, and the fact they already got Sadiq White, could really be special. This could be a really, really good recruiting class. I'm giving you permission to have hope about it. Okay? I'm giving you permission. So London Jemison looking pretty good regarding Syracuse's odds in landing him. Syracuse also recently offered a big man. I've talked about a number of times that it seemed like Syracuse basketball is going to go portal hunting next year again for a center. Naheem McLeod won't be back, years of eligibility. Eddie Lampkin, same thing, years of eligibility. They don't have him left, so Syracuse is without a center for next season. Not the end of the world, but I said they would probably have to go portal hunting given their offers right now in the recruitment process. Well, that has changed. They have offered a center. It is Chris Senac Jr. from New Orleans. He is On Three's number 6 overall player in the class. He is a 5-star, so this is a big-time big man, 6'10". And Senac recently said that he was surprised that he got the offer from Syracuse. I mean, obviously, he's got plenty of schools that are pursuing him, mainly LSU, given that he's from the area. But he was surprised that Syracuse reached out and that Syracuse eventually offered him. Don't know the exact odds or to what degree Syracuse has interest in him, but nevertheless, they have offered Chris Senac. So we'll be monitoring to see if the odds shift or if Syracuse has a legitimate possibility of landing him or if they're just sending an offer to see the field. Okay. Moving on, let's talk about Kiyan Anthony. Obviously, he has a pretty high percentage of committing to Syracuse. The On3 prediction machine gave it about a 90% chance that he commits. And he did post on his Instagram story when Sadiq White committed to Syracuse. So that's not nothing, in my opinion. Is it possible they're a package deal? Sure. Now, there were some signs that, or there were some alarm bells that people recently raised. And this is because Kiyan Anthony, a report came out that he is looking to set up visits with Indiana, Auburn, and Ohio State. And Syracuse was not mentioned of those three. But this is why I kind of will tell everyone to take a little bit of a deep breath. Like, everyone just breathe. Syracuse not included in those three. What's going on? Well, he's already visited Syracuse. He's already visited. And like I've said, it's not like Carmelo, his dad, is telling him you have to commit to Syracuse. This is his own recruitment process. Let's see how it plays out. As far as who I would worry about most, this is coming from the reporting of Mike McAllister, and it makes a lot of sense. But Indiana is the school to watch out for with regards to Kiyan Anthony potentially not going to Syracuse. And this is because Mike Woodson is the head coach at Indiana. He obviously was the coach of Carmelo Anthony in New York. They have a strong relationship, and Indiana has plenty of NI opportunities to offer. So it's certainly possible that Kiyan Anthony is an Indiana Hoosier. It's possible. I think he's going to end up committing to Syracuse. That's my opinion. But he is looking at other schools and trying to set up potential visits. So it's not a lock, so to speak, that he is committing to Syracuse. And now moving on, there are so many players to talk about with 2025, and I promise you I'm going to get them at some point over the course of the summer. So just giving you a little bit of a brief outline here of what's going on. Syracuse is still in the lead for four-star guard Tyler Jackson. He is a guard from Maryland. The odds are above 50% on him. He has officially visited Syracuse, and if you recall, when I had Sam Kaiser, 24/7 high school sports, when I had him on the podcast, he said that really it's between Syracuse and Maryland, and if there's any school that's going to take Tyler Jackson away from Syracuse, it would be Maryland. He was saying that Syracuse is a high probability of landing him. So when I look at it, and this is a good tease for Poll Friday coming up, which is tomorrow. It's a good tease. Syracuse could be looking at a recruiting class of three or more people. 3 or more recruits in it. They already got Sadiq White. Got to make sure you hold on to him, though. They're in the lead for Kiyan Anthony, even though he's setting up visits elsewhere. They're in the lead with London Jemison, and they're in the lead with Tyler Jackson. You can get all those guys. If you can get all of those players, that's 4. And that would be, at minimum, a top 10 recruiting class in the country, but I would probably guess, due to the volume and the quality of those players, all of them being high-end 4 stars or 5 stars, that you would be looking at a top 5 recruiting class in the country. So that's where Syracuse stands regarding 2025 recruiting right now.